What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is, man. I'm your host, Terrence Pitts, Bowie TV, Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone. It's going down each and every Thursday and Saturday with myself and Coach Bernard Clark Jr. Good afternoon. Well, good evening, Coach. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, Pitch. Everything's going good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, Coach. I can't complain, man. I can't complain at all.
Yeah, you know how I say I'm always enjoying the process. Sometimes God has you in a good one, sometimes you're in a difficult one, but it doesn't matter. Just enjoy it either way.
Yeah. And before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to sponsor. Shout out to Staples. Staples is a sponsor for Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio for all your print needs, for all your design, all your business cards, your flyers, your banners, etc. Shop Staples. They get you right each and every time.
Uh,
Coach,
yes, sir.
listen. So a little different than usual, man. So one, I appreciate you for being accommodating and understanding. On last week, we had to push our show to last
Absolutely.
Wednesday instead of last Thursday. Um, and man, I got to experience, what a red carpet actually feel like. You know how you always watch on TV and you see the red carpet, you're like, dang, like that atmosphere and environment look amazing. I was fortunate enough to be able to experience that last Thursday with the BET HBCU Honor Awards that'll air September 1st on BET. And it was just an amazing experience, man, to actually sit there and see a lot of the people that you see on TV.
hmm
Um, whether it's movie producer Will Packer, or Yandy Smith from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, or if it's gospel recording artist Erica Campbell, Fantasia, hip hop icon MC Light. It's just so many. I was just a humbling experience, man. I was grateful for it. A little chaotic at first. Knew it was like I was in the wilderness. It was a different environment, but I adapted well.
Yeah, you're
To
used to the sports arena. You ain't used to the
Yeah,
celebrity hip hopper. Now you say it's on December 1st. It airs on December 1st.
yep. December 1st, it airs
Okay.
on BET.
Okay. Now I
Yeah,
saw the snippet of you speaking with Will Packard. Man, I thought that was outstanding. I thought that was amazing,
yeah,
just the way he spoke about HBCUs and why it's important to honor HBCUs in so many ways. And he touched on the fact that this is how you do it. It's
yeah,
not just about the bands. It's not just about the football programs or the sports programs, but it's also about what you can achieve at those universities and what you can do at
yeah.
those universities, how prominent those universities are in so many people's lives, such as yourself, Pitts. And I thought that was outstanding the way you spoke with him.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, Coach. And the other, the crazy part was, I was then approached by a woman, and she was like, "Sir," she was like, "Can I get your name? What affiliation are you with?" And at first, I was a little skeptical, right? But I ended up telling her, and she basically was just like, you know, you have an aura, like, you have a way that you carry yourself, like, you know your environment, like you're welcoming. And just to let you know that you're asking some really great questions, and all the other outlets around you are using your questions. So you're doing an amazing job. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't even notice because I'm focused on what I'm doing. I'm not really paying attention to what's around me. So she says, are you available Saturday? So I said, I don't know. So long story short, I got an email from her on Friday, um, asking me, if I wanted to do another red carpet event for BET, but this one was a movie premiere.
Wow.
So I said, and we was talking about, just different environments. You go from the honors awards to a movie premiere. Again, just a humbling experience, man, where I get to sit there and talk with Jasmine Guy, or I get to talk with Professor Ogilvy from the Parkers, or some of the cast from Living Single, and then I get to watch the movie with them for the first time. Just the experiences and just to be able to be in that environment. It was very humbling, man. So again,
Well,
I
like
appreciate you.
absolutely. Well, like you said, the thing about it is you're zoned in because you're an ex-athlete. And ex-athletes tend to zone in on what their project is going to do, how they're going to play the game, and they get tunnel vision. So that's the best thing about it. When you're interviewing people, that person feels like the only person in the room because that's how you make them feel, because you have tunnel vision on them because of the questions you're asking, the unique questions that you're asking to them. And that's probably what the young lady saw, and that's why she asked you to do it. There's no doubt. Is that how you got the Staples sponsor?
Nah, actually, man, that was just me putting grit to grind.
Okay.
Went out. Staples, they have been a sponsor of mine now for a year. Um, and I just went out and spoke with them again today about some other ventures I'm trying to do with them. You know, shout out to Staples again. Shout out to Jennifer Krause for all that she's done and, you know, believing in me with their brand. But now it has, you know, starting to increase a little bit for me. So now I'm just more so trying to, you know, tap into other sponsors and, you know, anybody else who understand my vision, my passion, who stands behind with exposure specifically for HBCUs and trying to be more informative, you know, putting more of a positive spin out there in regards to what others may speak on it who never even attended or stepped foot on the HBCU campus. So, you know,
Yeah.
shout out to them for believing in me.
Absolutely, man. And there's no doubt. I know you're going to do big things. You've been doing big things. The thing about it is, regardless of how big or how small the venue is that you work, you have the passion for it, and then you have the purpose for it, and that's what makes it important to you. It's not about being on the red carpet. It's about talking to Bowie's softball team. You know, that's what it's about. It's about that person making them feel special in that moment, and that's why bigger things and better things are going to happen for you. There's no doubt about it. But continue your passion and continue your purpose, and it's going to work out well.
I appreciate that, and I receive it. I definitely receive it, man.
Absolutely.
Um, but we're gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and dive into it, Coach. You had a tough game last week. Robert
Woo!
Morris played against Central Connecticut. You know, both of you guys were in the two-seater behind Duquesne. You know, as it pertained to the NEC overtime loss. You know, take us through that, Coach. What transpired? You know, what's your thoughts and feelings after that? After such a loss?
Well, the tough thing, it was a double overtime loss. You know, I'll go all the way to the fourth quarter because that's where we lost it. You know, we go into the fourth quarter, leaving the third quarter, we hadn't had a fumble loss from a running back in 2 years. For leaving the third quarter, our running back fumbles the ball, turn it over, they push it down, they pump it in for a touchdown. We do it again, going the other way, fourth quarter, we're up by 14, we're up by 7. Running back fumbles the ball again. They scoop it and score, running in and tie it up. They kick an onside kick, a nice onside kick. It drives right at the center guy. He tries to get his foot out of the way he can't. They recover it. No big deal. Defense goes out, stops them 3 and out. They punt it. It lands it lands at the half-yard line. So our offense is coming out. Offense is coming out, moving the ball well. Chicken gets sacked, fumbles the ball. They recover it on like the 12-yard line. Defense again steps in, does a great job. Hold them. They do a great job of holding them to 3 points. So they're up by 3. It's a minute and 6 seconds left. We changed quarterbacks. We put Zach Tanner in. Zach goes in, moves the ball down the field. Minute and 6 seconds left. We kick a field goal, tie it up, send it into overtime. First possession in overtime, we get a pick. You know, because and the thing is as you're watching this develop as a coach on the sideline, and you're watching the things that are going on. It's like, man, we have so many opportunities. We got to finish, and that's what I talk to our guys about all week long. Let's start fast. Let's play physical, and let's finish. And we didn't finish. You know, first possession overtime, they have it. We get a pick. So we catch it in the end zone. Now, all we got to do is either score a touchdown or make a field goal. We run the ball. Then we throw a pass. The tight end is wide open. We overthrow it. The very next play is fourth down. We keep the ball in the middle of the field. The ball's in the middle of the field. Our field goal kicker just made like a 40-something yarder to tie it up. He misses it in the middle of the field, less yards. It goes wide left. So it's just, I'm like, so things are adding up. So again, we go out. So that's the end of that first overtime. Go to the second overtime. We have the ball first. So we have the ball first. You do a great job. Zach's in there, makes a move, throws, goes scrambling. Noah breaks up field, runs with a scramble, throws it to Noah. But we got to go for 2 now. We can't go for 1. We got to go for 2 in the second overtime. Go for 2, we don't get the 2-point conversion. We go out, defense goes out, does a great job of stopping. It's 4th and 8. It's 4th and 8. Guy comes down, man-on-man coverage. Boom, they throw it to the tight end. He lunges. Tight end gets the first down. They end up scoring on it. They go for a 2-point conversion. Their quarterback scrambling and running around. He throws it. It bounces off their offensive lineman's helmet. Guys in the end zone, lands right in his hands. That's how they win the game. So it was like, I guess it just wasn't meant for us to win this game because of just the scenarios that happened more than anything else. And they finished the game. That's what it boiled down to. They had a great fourth quarter. Those guys, they were behind by 14 points going into the fourth quarter. They tied it up in the fourth quarter. They did what they were supposed to do. They got 2 turnovers. They got 3 turnovers to lead to that. Throughout the game, we had 5 turnovers. Between we had a pick early, we had the onside kick, and we had another 3 fumbles. So we had 5 turnovers. That was an issue. I think we only scored 7 points on offense during regulation time. Robert Carter had an unbelievable game. Robert Carter, he took one back to the house on kickoff return. He returned it, I think, 96 yards on kickoff return, and then he had a pick that he took back to the house. So Robert got Special Teams Player of the Week. So Rob had a good game. So we're up 17-7 or 17-3. So we put ourselves in a great position. But again, in fourth quarter, they finished the game. They did a great job of finishing. Then they got to overtime, and we missed a field goal. They closed it out. I mean, they did a great job of closing the game out, and we didn't finish. And that's what I told our guys. And that's the thing that we got to understand more than anything else. We're giving great effort. Those things are there, but we're not. The effort isn't leading to a finish, and that's what I want to do more than anything else. And we just didn't win the game. It was disappointing, because again, it would have put us in a position to wait and see what happens this week. Whether they win against Duquesne or they don't win against Duquesne. But now it's put in a position where we just got to play. We got to play hard. We got to play for. I told the coach, I told the players today. I said, guys, this isn't about playing for the coaches. It isn't about playing for anybody. It's about playing for yourselves. You guys got to play for each other. The Colonial next to you, you got to be able to call him, years from now and say, hey, man, it was a nice finish where we finished that game up. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to finish up the season on a strong point. We want to make sure our guys understand they're playing for one another and the things that they're doing. So,
yeah, got to be tough, because we often talk about, the importance of playing the game in 3 phases, and being complementary football to each other, whether it's the special teams being complementary to the defense or the offense and vice versa. And, definitely when the offense plays defense and on short field situational football, it tends to not work in their favor, but the defense still was able, to keep things into perspective. So definitely a tough loss, man. And, unfortunately, that means, that leads us to this week's game, which is against Stonehill, which is the last game of the season, correct?
Yes. And it's funny you talk about the 3 phases of the game, Pitch, because the 3 phases of the game is what help us take it to overtime. The 3 phases were defense goes out, like you said, they stop them, they hold them to a field goal. Offense goes out in 1 minute and 6 seconds, drive it down the field to put it in position to kick a field goal. So offense does their job, defense, and the special teams does their job and kick it. Now, in overtime, all 3 phases could have won it again. We miss a wide open throw. We don't stop them on 4th and 8. We miss a field goal. So all 3 phases had a great opportunity to put us into overtime, but they also didn't close it out in overtime and didn't finish. So, like you said, brings us to our last game against Stonehill. Stonehill's one of those teams, man. They're struggling. They're 1-9, but they don't play like a 1-9 team. This is a team that fights. I mean, I think they put up 38 against Duquesne. Put up 38 points against Duquesne. It was down to the wire against Central Connecticut. So this team plays hard. They do a great job of toughing things out. So we're excited about playing them. They're coming here. We're going to see what we can do, make sure we do what we need to do to make sure we can close this thing out. But they're a good football team. Their record is not indicative of how they are and how they're playing.
Take us through this week's practice, how the team has been responding. What's the mood been like in the locker room, and then if you could give us our wow.
Well, to be honest with you, man, practice has been good. I mean, they've been very jovial in practice. I mean, the other day, instead of the offensive line, we do one-on-one pass protection. So they switched it up. The D-line protected one-on-one, and the O-line.
O-line got the rush.
Yeah, so I heard, I'm down there. I'm at the other end with 7-on-7. All of a sudden, I hear screaming and hollering, hooping and hollering. They're down there going against each other. So the D-line's talking noise to them because they're holding them off, and the O-line's driving them and bull rushing them to the quarterback. So they did a great job of doing those things. So they've been practicing hard all week, man. It's just one of those things where we just want to make sure we stay focused in practice and mentally be prepared. So we went a little bit lighter. We just went one day in uppers, and the other days were in shells, just in helmets. But they did good work. They're running around. They're excited about what's going on, and they're doing a great job, and they're pushing each other. The word of the week, I told them they need to collaborate. In order for us to win this game, we need to collaborate, work jointly together, for a specific reason. And that's what we're doing. And the reason is to win this football game. And they're collaborating offensively, defensively, and special teams to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do.
And what's funny is that for me, going into this week and before we got on, knowing the outcome of last week's game, of course. Um, it's funny, I try to come up now. You got me in my own wows, right? And and something you said, collaborate, and I was thinking together.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's easy to now when it feel like you don't have anything to play for,
Mm-hmm.
to now start to separate and detach. But finishing strong, finishing together, collaborating, being complimentary of each phase of the football game, and just going out with a strong win.
Yeah, and the good thing about this team is, like I said, they got to the point where they can compliment each other and everything's great. They can criticize each other and everything's okay. So their mindset is exactly where it's supposed to be at. They're busting their behinds on the practice field. Like I was in the weight room today, I was working out and I overheard one of them because they had a workout session going on. He was a senior, and he broke him down. He's like, guys, I'm gonna miss doing this, man. This is the last time we'll be able to do this. We got to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do and getting things on top of things. So they're excited about it, man. I know they're excited. Like I said, they've been having fun all week in practice to make sure everything's going well.
Talk about you as the coach, and especially for your seniors, right? And knowing that they did like they worked their ass off. They competed, they fought week in, week out, and talk about the emotional attachment and the relationships, and your thoughts and how that affects you when watching your seniors take the field for the last time.
Well, that's the positive thing. Even the grad guys we brought in, like Sean Charles and Tislam, Muhammad, and the other guys. Those guys have played their butts off for us. They've given us 100%, and I'm gonna miss those guys. That's the tough thing about a transfer portal. Like I told you earlier, man, when you bring in those grad guys and you bring them in right before camp, this is all the time you get to spend with them. They're in August and they leave in December. So it's a very short period of time that you get to hang out with these guys and get to know them, and so you really never ever really get to know them the way you'd like to. But those guys have given us 100%, and there's not one of those guys that we brought in grad wise, not one of those guys we brought in as a transfer that's graduating this either has already graduated or is about to graduate this December that hasn't given us 100%, whether that's in practice or whether that's in the game. We got some guys that we brought in that didn't even see the field, but they bust their behind on scout team and they gave us 100% in any way that they could. So you got to be excited about those guys.
Going into this last game, of course, you want your seniors to ride out in the sunset with a victory. Do you use this game to see what you have as far as the depth chart of those who looks to be returning for next year?
No, we're trying to win. I'm not worried about depth chart for next year. Obviously, we got some freshmen that we'd like to see play, but the bottom line is I want these seniors to go out with a bang. So I want them to get as much ride time, like you said, as they can to make sure that they're proving themselves and busting their behinds, because this game is just like any other game. You want to make sure you get that W. So I don't want to see, I'm not necessarily worried about whether a freshman gets this time or he gets that time. If that happens, it's great. But the most important thing right now is getting this W and making sure we let our guys out of here on a bang.
Talk about the team camaraderie that your team displayed this year, and the support that they displayed for each other, and how they picked each other up and encouraged each other this year.
But that's the positive thing, and people always talk about it. And Coach Plunger's our defensive coordinator. He puts it this way, and it's so true, man. On every team, you got a top 10%. You got top 10% guys more than anything else. And those are the leaders. Those are the guys that are program guys doing the things you want them to do more than anything else. And then you got a bottom 10%. It's a situation where you got a bottom 10%. And those are the guys that, but you got 80% in the middle. And those top 10% guys, man, they were able to pull that 80 toward the top 10%. And that's what you want to do when you have a program more than anything else. And that bottom 10, where you have a couple of guys just they're not happy about the playing time. They're not happy about this. The things aren't going the way they want them to go. But you're able to ignore those guys and put them in a position where the majority of our guys are working towards the same goal more than anything else. And that's the exciting part about it. We have a lot of seniors that helped in those things, because even the seniors that weren't playing, those are still the guys that are pushing everybody towards it in the right direction, make sure they're going the right direction.
What is one of the things that you're most looking forward to on this Saturday, despite the W?
Finishing. I mean, I want to see our guys collaborate, come together, play hard for one another, and finish this football game. I want all three phases to make sure they're exactly where they need to be at. And that's the exciting thing about it. I want to make sure our guys are busting their behinds one last time for 60-plus minutes on that football field and playing together as a team.
What you talk about, being able to do that at home for your last game is definitely a gift, especially for seniors. Last game of the season on their home field.
Got senior day,
Nothing gets better than that.
With senior day, we're seeing them off right. Their parents will be there, and that's the other plus thing about it. Some of these guys. One of the young men just came in today. He's been in college for the last 4 years, and he transferred to us from a Division II school because he's closer to home. This is literally the first time his mom is ready to come and see him dressed in a uniform since he's been in college. Since he left high school. So he's excited about it. I'm excited for that young man too. He's a young man that busted his behind for us on scout team, gave us everything he had. Going to his senior year, about to get his degree, graduates this December. He's excited about it. And to me, that's the most important thing. Because when these guys first come to the thing, I tell them, I said, look, man, I'm not going to promise you're going to start. I'm not going to promise you're going to go to the NFL. I'm not going to do any of those promises. The promises I will keep to you, if you do what you're supposed to do, I promise you'll get your college degree. And these guys are leaving here. A lot of them are leaving here with college degrees. Some guys already have them because they're grad guys, but a lot of these guys are leaving with college degrees. And that's the thing I'm excited about. Make sure these guys graduate from college because and I know, it's a long shot before you get to the NFL. You're talking about 1,696 guys. That's what I tell guys all the time. I'm not telling you can't make it. I'm just telling you it's hard to make it. And not only that, it's hard to stay. So you got to make sure guys understand they're leaving here. You don't spend 4 or 5 years at a university and not get your degree. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense for you to do that.
Outside of football, Coach, we talk a lot about how we take the discipline and the team and the camaraderie and the wholeness of that. And you talk about, especially particularly in this situation, we're talking about young men, how to become better young men, better fathers. Talk about that journey with these young men during this process as they get ready to depart.
It's interesting you say that because off air, I was telling you about one of my teammates who's been put in hospice. He's been diagnosed with cancer. And he's kind of in the last stages right now. And you start thinking about last games and you start thinking about season didn't go the way you wanted to. And then life has a way of slapping you in the face and bringing you back to reality to realize the most important things. And that's the thing I told our guys today was you got to play for each other. Make sure you're playing for each other. And I saw this scene from a movie that just jumped out at me. And I'm sure you've seen this scene before. It's called Evan Almighty. And it's a scene where Morgan Freeman plays God and he's talking to his wife and he says to her, when you pray to God for patience, do you think God gives you patience or does he give you an opportunity to show patience? And when you pray for courage, do you think God gives you courage? Does he put you in a position and give you an opportunity to be courageous?
Yeah.
And when you pray for your family to be closer, do you think he makes it all warm and fuzzy? Or do he put you in situations where your family can go closer and you become to love one another? And that's why I was trying to tell our guys, I know we've been through some ups and some downs more than anything else, but all those things just made us stronger. Adversity does that to you. You got to make sure you know how to deal with adversity. That's the most important thing. So the way our guys have dealt with adversity, and they go in this on Saturday and they play the way they're capable of playing, they come out here and win this football game after losing the last 2. That's the most important thing. That's the life lesson that they needed to learn. And I tell them all the time, you can never let anybody take your joy when it comes to this game. That includes me as a coach or any of the other coaches. Because if you enjoy playing this game of football, that's how you got to play it every week. You got to play it for your teammate. And those are the things I wanted to tell them more than anything else. And the reason I do that stuff all the time, because I heard Denzel Washington say this, and what he says, in the first stage of life, you learn. In the second stage of life, you earn. And in the third stage of life, you return. And that return, it could be money, it could be wisdom, it could be anything. But you got those 3 stages of life. And I want to return to these guys. I want to pour everything I have in them, the wisdom I have more than anything else, help these guys understand it. You got a whole life ahead of you. You got to make sure you stay on the right track and do what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely, Coach. And man, listen, I appreciate you, man, again, for everything that you've done, for me on and off the show. Being a air that I can, call out to and need when I need to at those lowest moments. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man.
Because I can just, see, what those guys are able to get from you, and they're spending a lot more time with you, so definitely a jewel.
I appreciate that, man. And again, we're excited for this Saturday, man. Me and you will hit it up again on Saturday. I'm not sure what time, probably around 8:30. We'll get this thing locked and loaded again, man, and talk about it. But We got to get this thing rolling. Got one last time, man. We're gonna roll this thing out. Make sure these guys stay positive with each other. You know, make sure they stay working for one another. Make sure they're collaborating. Make sure their mindset where it needs to be at, man. We can get this W and make things rolling. So let's go, Bobby Mo.
Listen, man, y'all heard it here, man. Coach Bernard Clark Jr., aka Tiger, aka through the eye of the Tiger. Coach Bernard Clark Jr. and myself, each and every Thursday and Saturday is going down. Catch us Saturday for game day. It's a hit. Let's get it. It's a W. Follow Pits and Push on everything: iTunes, Spotify, Google, iHeart. You know, follow Pit Sports Zone on iTunes, Facebook, and also Blue TV. We're bringing you all the great coverage of NFL, college, and from here far and in between. You get all your needs with Blue TV. Shout out to you, Coach Bernard Clark Jr. Appreciate you again. Hey, last thing I'm gonna say is you already see the fit for the night. It's Thursday night football. I couldn't let this night go. You know what I'm saying? Without showing that good old black and gold. So
I hear you.
Hey, Coach, what's the weather like?
It's Pittsburgh, man. It's freezing.
Let's go.
It is absolutely freezing. It's like 32 degrees outside, man. It don't make no sense.
I need y'all to send some snow this way. I'll be happy, Coach. But again, man, I appreciate you, man. Look forward to Saturday. Let's go 1-0.
Take care, man. Much love.
Yeah.